Everybody talks about replacing managers, but players must take responsibility. We've had 3 managers this season, plus a 4th with Bruno. Everybody's talking about the manager, but we must look at what has been done wrong and try to change. Not my words, the words of our great defender, Thiago Silva. So guys, I keep telling you, and now it's come from one of our players himself. And I said to you, and I've said it on many occasions, it's not just a case of changing the manager and everything is going to be okay. And that's what my point has been all along, when I've not been defending Potter as such, but I'm saying, look, it's bigger than Potter. And a lot of people didn't realise that. They thought quick fix will be change the manager, everything goes back to normal. And I'm still hearing that that many people are still saying the same thing. Why didn't we get an elite manager in? If we had brought in Nagelsmann now, or Luis Enrique, had we brought in any of those guys now, everything will switch by the click of a finger, like some sort of magic, like it's Harry Potter rather than Graham Potter, and it'll be okay. We've got a new manager in and everything's going to be all right. The team are going to start clicking, playing superb, fantastic football. But guys, it's not like that. No, and now that you're hearing from our own Thiago Silva, I'm hoping that you too can see now that there's more to it than just changing out the manager. So he's already said that the players have got to take some criticism, but he's cited main reason, and the main reason has to be down to the new ownership. And I'm not criticising the ownership, by the way. I know they do deserve some criticism. I'm not saying they don't. They do deserve some criticism. Some people are saying it's everything to do with them. It's not all their fault, but they need to learn, and they need to learn fast. I've done a video about this before, so if you want to read about that, if you want to watch that video, you can find it in the video library, where I've sort of pointed some of the blames firmly at their door. But and the main issue, I think, is and what Thiago Silva touched upon as well, is the poor transfer strategy, which has hamstrung the club and led to dressing room disharmony. And we can't, people are just forgetting and ignoring the fact that football is okay. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's about tactics. You sort the tactics out on the pitch and that's it. It's only to do with tactics. Guys, you've either never played the sport before, or you don't know a lot about football, guys. Because I've played to get to football. No matter what level you play at, even if you're playing at non-league level or whatever level of football playing, if you don't have a good spirit inside your club, if you have got some infighting, people who don't get on with each other, I don't care how good you are, you're not going to win games with that attitude and mentality. That's why team spirit is really important. And that's what got Chelsea through a lot. We had Dennis Wise, then we had John Terry, and then we brought in players who embodied that, who came into the side, worked well with each other, and we had leaders in there. Didier Drogba, we had a present player in Thiago Silva, and we had a past player in Didier Drogba, because Didier Drogba spoke about this as well when he said, I don't recognise this club anymore. This isn't the club that I used to know. And he's talking about the way that they've bought players, and it's just a scattergun approach. Like I said before, it's a case of, yeah, I like that player, I think that player will do for us, that player, and they don't dig into that person's really background and personality. They look at the data, but does the data tell you about the players, how they can fit into the squad? Does the data tell you how, have they got leadership qualities? Would they fight for the rest of their teammates? Is that all in the data as well? Because Didier Drogba was saying the type of players Chelsea got into the side were sort of experienced players, experienced leaders and winners. I'm not advocating that we go out and buy all these 28, 29, 30-year-olds, but we need a mix. The way that we're buying, we're buying a lot of promising younger players. And on the other end of the spectrum, when Tuchel was here, we brought in 30-year-old Koulibaly and a 31-year-old Aubameyang. Is Aubameyang a player who's going to set examples for the younger players? It doesn't look like it, and from what we can see, it doesn't look like it. And so we don't have the leadership in the sides. Even some of the older players, they haven't got that personality like your JTs used to have, who can pass on their sort of experience and what it means to play for a club like Chelsea. I'm not sure. I'm from the outside looking in, so I'm not really know the ins and outs, but they don't strike me as players, on the pitch anyway, who've got that sort of personality. So going on in this interview that Thiago Silva had at the end of the match, he says, change of ownership, new players arriving. We had to increase the size of the changing room because it didn't fit the size of the squad. And you remember that, friends and teams harmony is built in the changing room. So if you've got people in big numbers all changing together, some people had to sit on the floor apparently, that we heard in the previous when someone said that previously. Some people are actually sitting on the floor during the team talks and things. That can't be good, guys. Come on. And even Thomas Tuchel, when he was here, he said he likes to work with a small squad, a 24-man squad. Maybe that was some of the things that he was at loggerheads with Chelsea. They probably wanted to go full steam ahead buying players, and he probably said to them, "Well, slow down a bit, guys, because we can't have all these players in the side at the same time." So maybe that was part of the disagreement with Thomas Tuchel. So anyway, 30 players, and all of them want to play. And that's what Thiago Silva said. They all want to play. You can only pick 11, and what that creates is unhappiness in the squad. Jesus, we're not having these like all these players are or have been first team players in their sides, so they all expect to play. And then what happens when you don't play? There's always this talking and backbiting and undermining the manager and everything else like that. And so that's what's created that disharmony within the squad. So what Thiago is saying is, look, slow down, guys, change your strategy, and let's think about it. Just don't try and buy your way out of trouble. Let's see, first of all, it starts with getting in a new manager. And Silva also warned that there's no guarantee a new manager will change the situation. That's what I keep saying. And now are people going to believe me? Are they going to believe me? Probably not, because they've still got their own thoughts in their mind. And I've been saying that all along. Just buying a new manager, just getting a new manager is not going to fix the problem. So obviously I mentioned at the beginning what he said. We've had 3 managers and 4 managers, and nothing's changed since. And just because we're getting an elite, a so-called elite, or what people call an elite manager, if we still have a bloated squad, then you know what, they're going to have the same situations as they did before. So and the other thing what I wanted to say as well is a lot of people now, they really all these rival fans will say, no, Chelsea bought the titles. It's not easy, guys. As we can see, we spent 600 million. Are we any better for it? No. So when Roman Abramovich first came in and took over the club, what we saw was targeted buys, and for that we got to thank our manager at the time, Claudio Ranieri, because what Claudio Ranieri did, he identified the places in the team that were needed improvement. And we didn't go out and just buy big name superstars. Like people like Jeremy were people who can do a job in the side. They weren't big names, but Jeremy, we brought Glenn Johnson in, we brought in Joe Cole, Makalele, he was unwanted at Real Madrid at the time. So we went out and we looked at areas that needed strengthening, and okay, we did buy a few players at the time, but the squad did need replenishing, and it wasn't a case of having a bloated squad. And then after we had those quite a few signings when he first came in, the second season, it was just people got in the manager, and who was it? It was Jose came in, and it was people who he thought can strengthen us even further. So he came, I think it was Carvalho, Ferreira, I think those were the only couple of players that he bought, and Didier Drogba, which was a big buy at the time. So those are players we've identified. You know, Didier Drogba was one of the key players. So if you look at Abramovich at the time, he said, "Are you sure you want this guy?" When Marina said, "Can we get this guy Drogba in?" Because he said, "There's other bigger names out there who we can get," but he said, "No, I want this particular guy because he's going to do the job that I wanted to do." And that's the thing. We don't just want to go and get that big shiny new toy, and that's what our fan base always want. Okay, let's get this player, let's get that player, with no idea of how they're going to fit into the way we play. So it's not always getting that, you know, that stellar player. It's someone who can come in, who can do a job for in a style of and fit into the style that the manager wants to adapt into the team. And so that's what happened with Drogba, and we can learn a thing or two from the way that we did conducted our transfer business in the early days of Abramovich. Every time we went out and bought a new player, a decent player, then it reaped a good season. The season after, like when we bought Makaleli, then we done back-to-backs, and then when we started to be stupid in the transfer market with Ben Taim and Steve Sidwell and things like that, then we didn't do anything after that. And there should always be a strategy to improve on your, if you're going to get somebody, A, does he fit into the squad? B, does he improve the squad? If the answer is yes to both, then get them in. You know, Manchester City are doing it every time. They're getting rid of players. You know, some players that you thought, oh, they're getting rid of them a bit too early, but they're refreshing out the squad, and that's why they've had that longevity at the top. And with us, our transfer market, since, you know, and it was, as I said, it's before Boehly came, it's been a bit hit and miss, and that's why, you know, we can't just spend for the sake of spending. So, you know, the management hopefully have learned a harsh lesson. Now they've got footballing people in place to make the right decisions. And so please listen to what Thiago Silva has been saying, guys. You know, we need to hit the pause button, do things a little bit different, and because if we carry on the way we're going, then it's just going to be the same old, no matter who we get in. So we get in a manager, you know, see what align the manager to the footballing directors, get in players who can play to the sort of system that we want to play, and that's the way that we're going to get back to the top table. Guys, what do you think? What's your take on all this? Is Thiago Silva talking sense, or do you think an elite manager could just come in and with a switch of the button just change everything? So stick your comments in the section below, and don't forget, as always, to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you'll be notified every time I make a new video. So take care, bye bye.